Okay, I'm gonna come back with my commentary. Okay, peace and blessings, glory, glory to the eternal, forever living God. You know, one of the wonderful things about your God this morning time is the fact that people can give up on you all day long, but your God, He'll never give up on you. And then as we go through our lives with the hardness, God has promised to make the rough patches in your life smooth. He has promised to take the crooked in your life and to lay it straight. There is nobody or nothing else in this life that'll be able to do that for you if it not be the eternal, forever living God. Blessed be the glory of your God in this day. Now we all heard the story, right? We all heard what happened. We have a fast ass little heifer, and yes, I said fast ass little heifer because ain't no way, family, ain't no way you should be 13 messing with a 20-year-old. But I know we make mistakes, and I know the young people just like we were teens at one time, and we was coming up in the world and we was doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we not so damn innocent. But I want to see the perspective of different women on this case and this topic.
He was thinking with one head when he should have been thinking about the other.
My bad. Let's go all the way back.
Was killed after he was found under the bed of a 13-year-old girl. As the man was getting ready to leave, the mama shot him in the head, in the back. Well, let's talk about that. Let's just talk about that. Let's start with the man first. You know, he was thinking with one head when he should have been thinking about the other. And he paid that price. Because you know what? He left. How do we deal with a situation like that? This is how we deal with it.
Thou shalt not kill. I don't care how it cuts or what side. I hear all our sisters sit there say, oh, he a pedophile, he a pedophile, he 20 years old, she 13 years old. But she fast though. You know what I'm saying? She fast. You know what I'm saying? She is fast. And this is something that is not common in people because I can't look at it, I can't generalize it as, oh, well, you know, this is how my people are. You know what I'm saying? This is a black issue. This is a black person. Nah, this is across the board of all people. But what gets me is his back was turned and she shot him in the back of the head. You know what I'm saying? Now, to me, if she would have went in that house and she seen some estranged man under her daughter's bed and she shot him like that, I really couldn't say anything. But he made it out the house and his back was turned and she shot him in the back of the head. You know what I'm saying? In the back of the head. You know what I'm saying? That was wrong.
Well, we can say, well, you know what? He had no business being in that woman's house. Well, that's true. That is so true. That is so true. And he should have thought about it. Because after all, the little girl set it up for a ride for him to come over there. She 13. And he should have thought more of it and about it before he went over there. Well, he paid for that. His decisions cost him his life.
That's still simping to me. You know what I'm saying? Because he's messing with an underage woman. To me, that'd be no different than a man messing with a man's wife. And he went over to that house like that. He went over to that house really not knowing that lady. And he already know that she young. But I still will compare it as in a man messing with a married woman. Whatever that married man, if that married man comes home and he sees his wife in bed with another man, there is no telling. It's like the vengeance of somebody that's been scarred by adultery. You know what I'm saying? There's no telling in that place and time what that man or woman, because there's no hell like a woman scorned, but there is nothing on the face of this earth more crazier than a man's vengeance. Both of those things are lethal and dangerous from what God said about a man and a woman. So to me, it's the same comparisons.
Now let's talk about the mother and the child. Let's talk about the mother first. Now we're going to talk about the mother. You know, I've heard so many people say, well, you know, this generation is this. You know what? The revolution of children being free has been like this for ever since God knows when. It was like that when I was little, and it's going to be like that when somebody else have children. You know, I remember when.
Why? Because there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing. Any human behavior has already been done for thousands and millions of years. So this is something that we all can see as something common, because it always have a reoccurrence. It always pops up every couple of years, you know what I'm saying, with people. And just like she said, to be truthful, the only thing about the generations is they're supposed to be smarter, but as we look at them, they're not so smarter than us like that.
When they used to cut the jeans off, and I had a little slit on the side, 2 slits on the side. And I was getting ready to walk out because I had this pretty top on, and my mama said, I know you ain't going outside with this slit like that. I mean, they couldn't see nothing, but it was kind of toward my panties. I said, you ain't going outside, you better go in there and take them pants off. She said, you better not ever wear them outside.
Now that's a good mama.
I said, okay. Threw them away. That wasn't no good for me. I can't wear them outside. Sure ain't gonna wear them in the house.
Yes, ma'am. That's a good mother.
You know, we you know, but it's mama, you know, and some people say, well, she ain't got no daddy and all of that, but you know what? My mama was a single parent with 6 girls. It ain't about the absent father. It's about the enforcement of the parent that is raising the child. See, when kids don't have no fear of you, when they ain't got no afraid of you or no fear, no kind of potential repercussions of what they do, you know, so you gotta admit things that they do is out the window. They ain't gotta be afraid of, you know, why should I be afraid?
To tell you the truth, I think every young person deals with lust, just like a grown person, just like me, just like all of us. But the spirit of lust falls on anybody at a young age. So I can't put it on the girl's mama. I can't put it on the girl's daddy. I have to put it on the individual fighting temptation and lust. It starts young, you know what I'm saying? You know, the lust, the sin, the flesh at a young age, you know, it knows what it wants, you know what I'm saying? And that's a fight, because it is a fight against temptation and lust.
You know, the mothers that was raised in the 80s, you know, well, some that started off. Remember the Mall of Memphis in Memphis? Used to be a Mall of Memphis in Memphis, and it was so pretty. It had a skating ring, and all the stores were so pretty and vibrant. And you know what? People started looking at that as a daycare, and they started dropping their kids off, especially during the summer and the weekends. You know, back in the day, my mom used to say, Mom, can I go to the corner store? For what? You guys, how much money you got? I ain't got no money. I'm just going down there. You don't need to go down there. And see, mama started letting the kids go anywhere. You know, you want to go somewhere? Yeah, I'm just going with my friends. You know, and then ask them, do they have any money or have they worked to save up any money? Just drop them off. I'm dropping them off at the movies. They drop them off at the movies. Movies start at 12 o'clock. At noon. Here it is, it's 4 o'clock. That little girl been at the mall. Of course she's gonna be hungry. She's gonna be, she thirsty, she hungry, she gonna wanna eat. But she ain't got no money. She ain't got no money like that. And her friends probably got money. She ain't got no money. So, you know, they walking in stores and she sees things she wanna get and she just buys a discount. See, the mamas don't have the mamas. Y'all don't have no kind of you know, reinforcement. But after all, many of y'all competing with your daughters. You're too busy. I done seen too many YouTube channels and social media channels and women that's going to jail because they found out their man was sleeping with another woman and they knew where she was. They knew about the other woman. They knew about where she was, how she was, with her other stuff. They knew all about all this stuff. They knew everything about that other woman, but don't know who your child is hanging out with. Don't know where your child is at 10 o'clock at night. Oh, she over a friend's house. She can be over a man's house, but she over a friend's house hanging out. You know more about where that man is at than you do your children. See, back in my day, it was the reverse. Back in, and even now, you know, I know where my kids are. My kids are 30-some years old, and I still know where they are. See, back in the day, we went on dates and stuff, and we told our parents where we was at. Even when I turned 20, look here, you know, I'm going somewhere. Mama, I'm going somewhere. This is who I'm going with. If anything come up, I come up missing, this is the last person I was with. But no, we don't do that. We don't do that.
And they say nowadays that the parent, coming where we come from, it was a different era. It was a different atmosphere. Things were more safe. So we still made mistakes as children, but we were more free. The same freedoms that we had, the children have now. But what she's saying is that parents really don't care about their children like that. That's why a lot of my generation of people are saying that the parents nowadays are so horrible. But how can they be any horrible than how we were raised? You know what I'm saying? We're the same people doing this, treating our kids in the same fashion. So how can it be any different from how we were raised?
You know. That little girl must have felt real comfortable telling that man he can come on over to the house. Because she wasn't worried about nothing. Mama don't go in there and check the room, and if she do, it's just got flukes. Now let's talk about the 13-year-old. See, this is where the parent and the mama and the daughter come up to the mixed signals. See, y'all sit here and tell a man she's 13 years old, but she talking like she's 18. She wearing clothes like she's 18. All her boobs out. If her boobs ain't out, her booty is out. She wearing tight clothes to show all her little print and everything.
And she right. She is right. This whole culture has affected a lot of the youths, and she right. A 13-year-old girl should be in a 13-year-old girl place. She should look like a 13-year-old. She should not look like no 25-year-old 304 hoochie mama walking down the damn street. So she is right. A 13-year-old girl she should stay in a child's place and still look 13, innocent. But the whole culture, you see, with this 304 culture, it even affects the children, because you have all these young ladies and they grow up so fast and they look to all the other women, and that's how the other women, they look, they dress, and they talk. So she is accurate. She's correct.
Nothing to be desirable about. And some of them are even more developed than others. You know, my grandbaby, you know, when we go out, she have men looking at her. She has a beautiful figure. Of course she do. But you can tell when she open up her mouth, she's a child. When she walks through the store, she's a child. Oh yeah, when they hear that.
So that's where old boy is at fault. Now, when we look at a 20-year-old man, they automatically expect a man to be mature. Automatically. Oh, he's 20 years old. So in their head, he should be acting like he's 28. But the average 20-year-old boy still acts like he's 17 years old. But just like our sister said, when the young woman opened her mouth and she started talking, he should have identified that she's a little girl. You know what I'm saying? He should have identified that, but he himself is immature himself. Any 20-year-old, how are we expecting them to act It takes a man longer to mature than a woman. And I'm talking about physically and mentally in the majority of the cases. I can't say all, but at least 70% of the time. But how old do we expect a 20-year-old to act? 20-year-old men are still boys. To me, they still, just because he 18, he 20, he don't act like no 20-year-old. How is a 20-year-old supposed to act? Because as I look at 20-year-olds, they still act like they 15, 16, and 17. They still act like adolescents.
They walk off. One man said, "Excuse, I'm so sorry," because he would get ready to approach her. She stays in a child's place, but that's because we have given her a child environment. You know, I'm so proud of myself. Yes, I am, because you know what? When her mama tell her, or daddy tell her something she don't want to hear, she call Nana, and Nana try to explain to her. A lot of times we talk, and I have to explain to her, and that, you know, your mom and daddy are doing things to help you grow. It's not to hurt you. Right now it may look like it, but right now it's to help you grow. I got nieces and nephews I'm proud of. They classy, they dress classy. Because that's what we taught them. We taught them.
And she right. Is she right? To a certain degree, the child should be in a child's place, and the child should act like a child. But in this generation, our young daughters and nieces and granddaughters, they grow up so damn fast. You would have to be fast. And then you got to imagine that a woman matures even more faster than a man does mentally. But I'm with her. Just like she said, the environment that the child is. But I'm pretty sure that the sister, she did everything she could. It goes back to the choice. She did everything that she could to raise her child. And you see that she's a single mother. So, you know, the father, he ain't nowhere in the place. So I'm pretty sure the sister, she did her best to make sure that the environment that the child was in was good. She was working full time. She didn't come home till late at night. But like our sister is saying, parenting is way more than that. Just because you could put a roof over somebody's head, you could put food in somebody's belly, and you could put clothes on somebody's back, doesn't mean that you did the full part of being a damn parent. It's way more than that, because you have to talk with your children. You have to see where they are. You got to lay down the law. You got to lay down all these discipline. And when the child acts up, you got to be willing to sit up there and give them the action of correction. So I understand what she's saying, you know what I'm saying, about the environment. But as you look from the other side of the aisle, we all know that sister was trying her best. This wouldn't have played out if she wouldn't have pulled out that gun like that. You know what I'm saying? None of this would have had played out. But cases like this will always be in the media and on the news, because just like the mother, she said, if I come home and if somebody is in there, I'm going to pop them. That's what she told her daughter. But then here's where the lust kicks back in. The lust, late at night, young woman wanting attention, being fast, got a boyfriend.
Them from all things. But see, nowadays, you know, these young folks don't want to hear because their mama don't want to hear. Their mama too busy competing with the child. But then, like I said, you know, she, you know, for her to be so comfortable with letting that man come in the house and hiding him up under the bed, Oh, that ain't her first time at the rodeo. Oh, that ain't her first time. That's her first time getting cold. That ain't her first time at the rodeo, because, you know, it came out that her mama said, well, you know, if I catch a man in this house, I'ma shoot him. Instead of telling the daughter, if I catch a man in the house, you better, you know what, I'ma deal with you. But see, she didn't have no fear. She ain't have no fear. You know, yeah, I invite a man over. If my mama gonna shoot him, it's just like when a man said, if I catch you with another man, I'll kill him. Well, why you gonna kill him? You ain't dating the man, you dating him. These girls now dressing all funny, you know, but you know what? This is the kind of generation that y'all in. Y'all don't want to judge. They get on Facebook doing all this with their lips all puffed all out. wearing them skimpy clothes, get on social media. See, they ain't thinking about, hey, you know what? Let me focus on, because when I was 13, I was focusing on dolls and just enjoying my life. I'm not trying to do grown folk things. And my mama was a single parent with 6 kids. I mean, 6 girls I may add. But that's the least stuff. That's the least stuff. These girls now 19 years old, getting on planes, going to meet some man in another state, another city, get off, she meet him, and then she come a missing.
And it's a damn shame because so many of our daughters and our nieces and our granddaughters come up missing because, like she said, they trying to act like an adults. They trying to be fast. So all these stories that we see in the news over a missing young woman, 9 times out of, okay, half of them would be a kidnap. Yeah, they getting kidnapped because they're being fast. But the other half, you know what I'm saying, the bad things that are happening to them for how they're acting at a young age. But can't really, as people, we really can't do nothing about that. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we can really do anything about that because it falls on choice. These young ladies want to go out here and be fast. These little young ladies want to get pregnant at a young age. These young little ladies want to play the role as if they were an adult. That is a problem.
Girl go on a date, he picks her up, she wearing all her butt cheeks out on the car. You know what, I wouldn't let nobody sit in my car and all they rectum is out, because you know what, you don't know if people wash or not. And then you know that when that booty get in contact with raw stuff, you know, it leaves a smell. Too many booties start smelling like tail in your car. Then you can't be wondering why it smell like that. Got to get it deep clean. But anyway, young girls going to meet these guys, and they end up, and they go out on a date. He picking them up from the house. You don't know where she went out with, don't know who she went out with. She on the phone, and then all of a sudden she come up missing. Yeah. You know, sneaking out the house ain't nothing new either. You know, I had a 13-year-old girl. Yeah, and I put one, you know, I'm a single parent. I put, you know, little window things all on my house. On the doors every time. If I went out and they were 14, I went out, I locked them in. I had the alarm cut on. I had cameras. No, because even when I'm not there, I'm there. But like I said, y'all sit up here and you know, like I said, you can't get mad at that man. Just at the man. Yeah, he might have been a pedophile. He might have been. But you know what? But we had reputations back then. And back then, that little girl would have been called every kind of name. You know what I'm talking about. Slut. Y'all call them thoughts now. Sluts. The other word and everything else. But see, back then, you know, our parents had a reputation to uphold in the neighborhood. They had a reputation to be upheld in the neighborhood. So your mama's reputation, she didn't want that messed up. But now, you know, you don't have to care because everybody's saying, don't judge me. Don't judge me. You had made him out to be the predator, but you know, you're not looking at the mama. But I'm looking at all 3 of them. Focusing on the mom.
You know what I'm saying? All 3, because all 3 was wrong. He was wrong because he couldn't recognize that was a 13-year-old girl. She was wrong because she was so loose and so fast and out here. That's not the only man that she didn't have sex with. The mother. But it do falls on the mother because, to me, all she had to do was call the police. That's all she had to do. She didn't have the right to take that young man's life like that. You know what I'm saying? She didn't, because if it wasn't him. So let's change up the situation. Let's say it was a 13-year-old boy. So you mean to tell me that woman, when that 13-year-old boy, when he ran out the door and he trying to get away from her, that she would have still executed him? So everybody is at fault in this situation like that, but it all stems from the mother on the action of what she did, because thou shalt not kill. What made that woman so of a judge and jury in her mind to where she could just take a life like that? You know what I'm saying? That she could just take that man's life like that. She did the wrong thing because she was supposed to have him locked up. He was supposed to go to jail for that. And since everybody is calling him a pedo, he should have had charges put on him as if he was a pedophile for what he was doing. The little girl, she's not scot-free. She doesn't get off the hand. She don't get off the handle on this. She was the cause of the murder. You know what I'm saying? She was the cause of the murder. So something should happen to her by law.
Mama and the daughter. Now the mama's in.
Maybe this president will change the way that other people would have looked. No matter what, you know, young ladies, they gonna think about this case because it went nationwide, and they gonna think, I can't be sneaking men in my house. But damn, you know what I'm saying? But damn, why did that woman kill the brother with his back turned? If he was under the bed, I can't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? That could have been a burglar. You know what I'm saying? That could have been a rapist under the bed. I wouldn't have said nothing. But they said he made it out the house, had his back turned, and she still took his life. And that little girl knew how crazy her mama was. That little girl knew that her mama threatened her with these actions. So she already knew.
Jail for what she did. And she said she did what she had to do. Well, I'm glad that she did what she had to do. I'm really glad that she did. Because she gonna be in jail for a while. She gonna be in jail for a while. And while she out there, that little 13-year-old gonna have to go somewhere. And whoever she go with, she gonna take that drama right along with her. She gonna take it around. But this time, she gonna start sneaking out, going places. I said about the time she reached 14 and the mama started having the trial, she gonna have her first baby. Because that ain't her first time at the rodeo. See, y'all mamas don't tell your daughter that as they bodies develop, that you know what, they're going to be going through some things. And they're going to have to look at the difference between having sex and having a relationship and having love. They don't know the difference between them three. And if you don't teach them about nothing like that, then how they expect to learn? But see, somebody should have taught that 20-year-old man that, you know what, if it's too good, if she's willing to give it up so easy, maybe something wrong. Or maybe something wrong.
Nah, don't get me wrong. Okay, I brought in the factor of immaturity at a level, you know what I'm saying, on any 20-year-old, but still, you know what I'm saying, he should have knew. You know what I'm saying, after getting to know the young woman, after knowing how she speak and how she talk and the things that she wants, he should have been under the assumption that that's a much younger girl than what she is saying that she is. So it's his fault. You know what I'm saying? It's his fault for not checking. It's his fault for not asking. It's his fault for going over there like that, because evidently he knew he was in the wrong, because his ass was sitting over there hiding under the bed when he went into that young girl's room like that. He should have just looked around and seen things that she had, and then already said, oh damn, this is a little girl right here. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no grown ass woman. But that's what she told him. From what the police report said, that he was under the impression that she was 20 years old. But as soon as he went inside of her environment, he should have been like, damn, this is a little girl. But it's still his fault. You know what I'm saying? It's his fault. It's her fault. And the mother's fault too, because she didn't have to pull the trigger. She should have called the police and had his black ass locked up for that. You know what I'm saying? It would have been much more better for him to go to prison, because that is an action that he would never repeat again. But damn, at least he'd be alive. Lives have been altered and changed in this story forever. Things won't be the same. You got a life lost. You got a life in prison, because she has other kids too. From what they said, she got other kids, and she won't be around to be the mother that the other kids need, plus the rebellious daughter. She still need a mother. You know what I'm saying? She still need a mother in her life. So to fly off the handle and to be so enraged to want to lash out at somebody, you know what I'm saying? That's the sister fault right there. It didn't have to go to that level like that. She chose that. And it's a cowardly, I don't care what nobody say, it is a cowardly ass move when somebody is running away from you and you still shoot them in the back. That's what I think a coward is. You know what I'm saying? That's a coward to me. You know what I'm saying?
We don't teach our children nothing like being a respectable daughter or nothing like that. Yeah. Family, I'm going to get with the gun. See, that's why everybody don't deserve a gun, a pew-pew. They don't deserve it. Because you know why they don't deserve it? Why they don't? They don't deserve it because, you know what? Instead of her calling the police, first thing in my mind is I would want to know how he got in my house to get up under that bed. That's why I'm calling the police. I would have wanted to know how he did that. See, so I can look at her. And then when the police left, taking him away, I would have dealt with her. They would have come back because I would have dealt with her. I would have dealt with her. But we don't know how to de-escalate before it has to escalate. Regardless of how the situation it is, whether she was a married man or a child, we should know how to de-escalate. That's why they pay law enforcement. That's why they pay the police department. Not to take law into their hands. That is supposed to be, a gun is supposed to be a resort of last resort. Not your first, not your second, your last. But we get our emotions so caught up. And I understand. She's 13 and stuff. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. She been doing that for a while. And for her mama to say that ain't the first time. And we need to know that just because we got it don't mean we have to use it. There's a lot of people in jail because you know what? They made a pew-pew their first and only source.
Thank you, sister, for coming to the show this morning, Tom. I want everybody commentary what you think. I can't really judge you on what you think, but I want to know what you think about this case with this 13-year-old girl, the mother, and then the 20-year-old man being, that's an execution when you get shot in the back like that, executed over his lust. I want to know what you think in the comments. So go ahead and meet your brother in the comments. Peace and blessings to your day. Shouts out to the elder to listen to her point of view on what she thought about the case. Glory, glory to the eternal living God. But until next time.